Hello and welcome to the Ulumbarra Theatre Bendigo for this special concert event called The Way Back. More from me in a moment, but it's first my privilege to introduce Rebecca Phillips, Jaja Warung traditional owner, for a welcome to country.
Delkanyawi Yumob. My name is Rebecca Phillips and I'm a descendant of Caroline Malcolm, Gindaman and Gilpaul Morning. Because of them, I am here today, on country and practicing culture. Bukan delkak jai, bamati guli, badoroi. I give my respect to country and to the ancestors. I'd like to acknowledge the tough times that we are in. Our world is changing. I'd like to pay my respect to those people who were not well during this pandemic and those who did not survive. I'd like to send out love to those people who may have suffered from domestic violence or mental illness exacerbated by the lockdowns. I'd also like to send love to the people in isolation who have felt really lonely and unable to connect with people. I want to say well done to those who have managed to work on themselves and utilise this time cleaning out things that no longer serve them. I'd also like to say what positive things there are in going online. You can now enjoy this concert in your pyjamas on your couch. There are no lines for the toilets. The food is great, whatever you choose it to be. And it's free. You may also want to enjoy it around the campfire in your backyard. So enjoy it as you will. I'd like to thank the staff of the Ulumbarra Theatre and everybody involved in bringing to you the local talent here and being able to enjoy it in your own way, in a modern way. And think the way back, our people have been sharing culture, song, dance, music, art, for the longest time, and we continue that on today. So I'd like to sing you a song now in my beautiful Dada Wurrung language born of this country, that expresses this country. May Bundul watch over you wherever you are on your journey across country. May we listen, may we talk around the campfire, and may we gather again together here at Ulumbarra. Please enjoy the concert tonight, and as I welcome you to country, I think of my ancestors and all of you out there. Bengek wamindika, benganano jandaki, lani jadar burung kundicha. Welcome you to our homelands, the home of the Jara people.
Thank you, Rebecca, and welcome to this, the second in a series of live stream concerts produced by Bendigo Venues and Events. Our location is the beautiful Ulumbarra Theatre in the heart of Bendigo, which itself is in the heart of the state of Victoria in southeast Australia. From this 19th century goldfields prison has grown an exciting performing arts venue, and this evening's concert will showcase some of the spaces in this wonderful building. Over the next hour or so, we'll hear from some of the leading classical musicians of the region, all of whom have been part of the Artists on View program presented by Bendigo Venues and Events. We start with Duo Allegrezza. Jenny Gogolin, flute, and guitarist Anne Begg are highly experienced soloists, ensemble musicians, and teachers. Their program comprises music from France and South America, and I had a chat with them earlier today. Jenny and Dan, thanks for being part of this special event. How long have you been performing as a duo?
Anne and I met in 2013. We were working with the Bendigo Instrumental Music Program, of which I still work with, and we were teaching at Bendigo South East College. And we met each other and said, wouldn't it be great to play together? And so that first year we did a concert at the Castlemaine Art Gallery, which was very well received. Then we had a bit of a break for a few years, and the last few years we've been doing associate work with the Guitar Collaboration, which is a group that Anne regularly plays with.
Jenny, I know you're quite passionate about chamber music, which is what this program is mostly all about. How important, in your experience, is chamber music for a musician?
Well, yes, it is my passion. I've always loved it from when I was a girl. And I think it is very important because of the skills you learn, the respect that chamber music, you have the opportunity to play with many different instruments. So for me, I could play with strings, I could play with guitar, I could play in a septet, I could play in a wind quintet. And the skills that you learn having to listen, having to blend with different sounds of instruments. And the other thing is, of course, which is different to concert band, which is still a wonderful resource to teach students ensemble skills, is that you are playing a single part. And so you really have to be very reliant on your own skills to be able to perform.
And you're also a cellist as well as a guitarist, so I imagine you do a lot of ensemble playing on both instruments?
Yes, I'm a member of the Bendigo Symphony Orchestra. That was one of the first things that I looked at when I moved to Bendigo. Do they have an orchestra that I could join? And I also play with the Guitar Collaboration, which is, there are 4 guitarists. Sometimes we play as a duo, trio, quartet, just depending on people's availability, and then coordinating that with other musicians. So Jenny has been part of that as well.
I'm very interested in the Piazzolla pieces you'll be ending with this evening. 2 movements from his suite, The History of the Tango. I'm assuming it's not often you get to play a piece called Bordello.
No. The 2 movements we played, actually it comes from a 4-movement suite, and they depict different periods of the tango. So the first one, Bordel, is set in 1900 when the tango was very much danced, and the women were teasing their male friends. And then Café 1930 is when really the tango became a little bit more romantic, and it's much sort of gentler in its mood.
And there are 2 more movements in the suite which we won't hear, but it sort of goes on into the future, doesn't it?
In later years and ends in 1970s.
It's originally for flute and guitar?
Yeah, it's actually the only work that Piazzolla wrote for guitar and flute. And the nice thing about it is that it's very much solo, like both parts are solo parts. I'm not just playing an accompaniment, which is often the way with guitar and...
Sounds wonderful. Jenny and Anne, thanks so much for chatting with us, and we're looking forward to hearing your performances.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Jenny Gogolin and Anne Begg are duo Allegrezza, and their performance begins with Entr'acte by Jacques Ibert. Then we'll hear one of the most famous tunes ever to come out of Brazil, the famous Cantilena from Bachianos' Brasilieiras, number 5 by Heitor Lobos. And to finish, 2 movements, Bordello 1900 and Café 1930, from the History of the Tango by Astor Piazzolla. Duo Allegrezza. Duo Allegrezza, performing music by Jacques Ibert, Heitor Lobos, and Astor Piazzolla. Jenny Gogolin, flute, and Dan Begg, guitar. Thank you both. From the intimate cafes of Buenos Aires, we now move to the drama of grand opera and 4 famous arias performed by soprano Brenda McDougall and pianist Steve Briggs. I had a chat with them a little earlier. Brenda and Steve, thanks for joining us for a brief chat. Brenda, your experience has taken you on stage all over Australia, also in Europe, and for this evening's concert, you've chosen 4 very famous arias from romantic operas. But it must be hard to get into character for each of those 4 people that you sing in a concert environment like this.
It is. It's very difficult to actually perform things out of context. When you're actually in the midst of the opera, the aria and what you're actually singing about makes so much more sense, and so you're able to sort of get into the role so much more when you're actually there performing. You have your lights, your cameras, your fellow artists, and your costume as well. But on the concert stage, it is actually often quite difficult to sort of immerse yourself in the drama of the aria and give it its full justice.
And you can't move much either.
No,
Whereas
that's right.
In a production, you might be on your back or
That's
climbing
right.
a wall.
You have direction.
Or, yes.
You have a director to tell you what to do.
So, for example, if we take the first aria that you're singing, the Leonora from Act 4 of Trovatore, she's gone through a lot to get to that point. So when you're singing that out of context, I imagine you've got to have in your mind what's she been through, what's she done, what's just happened, what's happened before. And you've got to do that 4 times.
That's right. It is a bit tricky.
But all part of concert work.
That's exactly right.
Yeah. Now, Steve, your involvements are enormously broad, the genres of music that you play, and also your commitment to music education is enormous, particularly here in Bendigo. Can you just give us a bit of a spectrum of the sorts of things that you do, because it's really amazing.
Sure. I was just lucky enough to have lots of opportunities that have come my way and got into some classical music, and then when I was growing up, some of my mates played jazz and rock and that sort of thing. So over my life, I've sort of had those friendships through music, which have been so amazing, and it's given me a whole different genre to have a go at. So I'm always looking for opportunities to try new things, and surprisingly, bands have been the last sort of couple of years I've been getting into rock bands, but my music education background is, I'm very passionate about being able to share that with the next generation and give them lots of opportunities across as broad a spectrum of music as we can. So
one thing that's impressing me about all the performers in this evening's concert is that virtually every one of them is a teacher. And that's got to be vital for particularly a regional centre for inspiring the next generation and for giving what music can give to people.
Yeah, precisely. And teaching was not on my list of things, but as I did it, I was hooked in, from teaching that first student how to play the C major scale or whatever. And it just refines your own practice every time you have to try and explain the concept. You figure a new way of making it, more easy to understand and more accessible for students.
So you, like most teachers, must find the more you teach, the more you learn.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Now, Brenda, there's a sort of a theme of doomed love which goes through the 4 arias that you and Steve are presenting tonight, but I want to particularly focus on the Vissi d'arte, just to finish. Just how important is that in the soprano repertoire?
Look, it's one of the major soprano roles in the soprano repertoire, and it's for a very good reason, because Tosca's character is just so incredibly I suppose expansive. She's a woman of extraordinary depths of emotion, passion, and her passion for her lover Mario is the thing that just I don't know how to explain it. Sorry.
Well, it's great that you're ending with it. I guess you couldn't really follow.
No, you couldn't follow.
Yeah. Oh, it would be wonderful to hear the 4 arias. Thank you both for having a chat with us. We're now on the stage of the Ulumbarra Theatre. Sadly, the audience can't be with us. We're making our way back, though, with these concerts presented by Bendigo Venues and Events. We'd love to have your comments on Facebook, so please do leave your comments there to support the artists who are performing for you this evening. Next, we have Brenda McDougall, soprano, and Steve Briggs, piano. 4 wonderful romantic opera arias, starting with an aria from Dvorak's Rusulka. The most famous part of the opera is the water nymph Rusulka's aria to the moon, her song to the moon, where she begs the moon to tell the prince of her forbidden love. Then to Verdi's Il Trovatore, a story of doomed love, deep hatred and smouldering revenge. In Leonora's Act 4 aria, she sings of her love for Manrico, who's imprisoned and condemned to death, hoping that her love will sustain him in his darkest hour. Then to the music of Alfredo Catalani. His 1892 opera La Wally is not performed today as often as it used to be, but it's a wonderful piece full of passionate and glorious music, and it surely must be the only opera that ends with the heroine dying in an avalanche. Wally's aria from the first act is best known perhaps because of its use in the 1981 French thriller Diva. In this aria, she stoically states her determination to leave her family rather than be forced to marry a man she doesn't love. And then finally, from Puccini's Tosca, the title character's great aria from the middle of Act 2, Vissi d'arte. I lived for art, I harmed no one, I did good for others, but why, O God, have you rewarded me thus? Brenda McDougall, soprano, and Steve Briggs, piano.
Come va l'eco della
Our concert from the Ulumbarra Theatre Bendigo continued with 4 famous operatic arias by Dvorak, Verdi, Catalani and Puccini. Brenda McDougall, soprano, and Steve Briggs, piano. Many thanks. We return to chamber music to conclude this evening's program, and music for the rare but beautiful combination of flute, viola and cello. Katie Kim, flute, Ruby Sherris, viola, and Raechel Suh, cello, are all young musicians at the start of exciting professional careers. I spoke to them earlier today. Katie Kim, Ruby Sherris and Raechel Suh, thank you so much for taking time out to chat with us. Katie, your life has taken you from South Korea to Brisbane to Melbourne, and now you're based here in Bendigo. Tell us a little about what you currently do here in Bendigo and some of your musical passions.
Yeah, in Bendigo, I raised my family. I've got, including Raechel, four children. So primary school age, 2 kids and 1 secondary student. And I'm also teaching as well, teaching instrumental music at Casman Secondary College and Maris College in Maiden Gully and in Moama as well. So, yeah.
You're sounding very busy here as a teacher.
Yeah, very busy.
Very busy.
Make lots of noise.
Do you get the chance to play much chamber music?
Not really, not as much as I would love to. Yeah, so that's why this opportunity is really great. Yeah, especially with these current lockdowns, I haven't been able to play much at all. I was just so busy. So this opportunity made me connect with these 2 other young performers and enjoying very much.
Now, Ruby, you're originally from Central Victoria, but your music has taken you all over the place, around Australia, New Zealand, Canada. Has chamber music been an important part of your life?
Absolutely. It's been the chief musical love of mine since I started. I just think that it's the foundation of all music making, and It's just what I love doing. It's been amazing to play with these two over the last few weeks, especially what we've just come out of, so yeah.
And it's such a different skill than orchestral playing, isn't it? It needs a whole different sort of mindset, I imagine.
Yeah, I really feel like you can kind of take part and act out your like musical ideas, but kind of in a beautiful conversation with other people, which I really, really enjoy.
And of course, as a string player, you are the viola, not part of a section.
Exactly. Yeah, it's great.
And similarly for the cello, Raechel, you were born in Brisbane, but like Katie and Ruby, you and your cello have travelled far and wide. And you've had some notable successes in competitions. Can you talk about competitions? Are they an important part of a young musician's life? Is there good or bad to it? What's it like for you?
Yeah, certainly. I think competitions are a great platform for emerging artists and young musicians. I think that, you know, they can be great fun. You get to meet peers, other young musicians, and, you know, regardless of the result, I found that I've come out of every competition a better musician. It's just a great way to, you know, really practice performing under pressure. There's nothing quite like the pressure and the nerves you experience when playing in a competition.
It's a tough thing, but it makes you probably a tougher musician and able to handle all sorts of challenges.
Yes.
It's wonderful to talk to all three of you. We're looking forward to your performance. Thanks so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks to everyone who's been leaving really lovely comments on Facebook. Leanne, in reference to the music we just heard from Brenda and Steve, a most beautiful way to spend my tea break. Unfortunately, no G&T to accompany. And Tamara was moved to tears by the beauty of Brenda's performance. Colin said, "So beautiful, Brenda McDougall and Steve. What a pleasure to hear you sing." Thank you to those people and everyone who's been commenting on Facebook from our feed from our concert here this afternoon. We conclude with French chamber music. Firstly, music by François de Vienne. Not a familiar name, but he was a contemporary of Mozart. He died in 1803. Professor of flute at the Paris Conservatoire, he wrote around 300 works, most of which involve wind instruments, and a lot of those for his own instrument, the flute. In 1784, he published a set of 6 trios for flute, viola, and cello. And the ensemble today will play one movement from the 5th trio of that set. And then to French music of a later generation, the music of Albert Roussel, who died in 1937, his trio for flute, viola and cello, written in 1929, which has 3 movements. Katie Kim, flute, Ruby Sherris, viola, and Raechel Suh, cello. Albert Roussel's trio for flute, viola and cello brought to an end this evening's online concert from the Ulumbarra Theatre in Bendigo. Before that we heard a trio by François Devienne, and the performers were Katie Kim, flute, Ruby Sheris, viola and Raechel Suh, cello. Before we sign off, a few important thank yous. Firstly, a huge thank you to all our performers who performed this evening. Also the production team from AV Bendigo. And finally, the entire team at Bendigo Venues and Events, the producers of this event and the managers of the Ulumbarra Theatre. And finally, thank you to all of you who've joined us for our performance online. Your support for all of us in the arts as we make our way back into performing is so important. We hope to see you again soon. My name's Graham Abbott. Good night.